Yahoo! Welcome, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love, to Astro Fenixx, flying into the moment yet again, radiating love as always. Man, I haven't made a video in quite a while. It's been a few days. I'm back, guys. I am back. Promise you, I didn't go anywhere. Just had to take some time for self-reflection. Nothing like too serious came up. It's just sometimes you go through these moments where you have to just kind of pause, step back a little bit, take time for inner reflection, and then move forward from there. But in this video, we're going to be covering the full moon in Aquarius that has recently apexed. By the time I upload this, the moon should still be in Aquarius, but the moon will be moving into Pisces on this day as well. We got a powerful one, guys. I know we just came off of very intense eclipse seasons in July. We also had that new moon in Leo, and the full moon is always a time for, reaping what we've sown and collecting the gifts that we seeded during the new moon. The new moon, which was in Leo, around 8 degrees. And this full moon is going to be at 22 degrees of Aquarius. Now, what makes this full moon very special is the fact that if you look at this from a numerological standpoint, 2 plus 2 equals 4. If you look at the degrees, 2 plus 2 equals 4. And 4 in numerology is actually ruled by Uranus. It's actually ruled by this Aquarian energy. So to have a full moon at 22 degrees of Aquarius means that we're getting a very pure and potent full moon in Aquarius because it is at that degree. It nets to a 4. So this is a very Aquarian-like full moon. And what's going to be interesting about this is that if you think about this Aquarius vibe, it deals with the internet. It deals with people. It deals with the collective. It deals with these unique facets of ourselves. Now, Aquarius can, a lot of times they are pegged for not being very emotional, not being the most empathetic. But that could be further from the truth. Aquarius just understands and realizes that, they can't fill up everyone's cup. You have to be able to give something as well. Not only that, but if you think about it, if Aquarius is the water bearer, I said in my Instagram live last night, it's sort of akin to this whole, you're pouring water into people's cups, but you have like a line of people that you have to get to, right? And then what can happen? Someone may drink all the water and gulp it down so freaking fast, and then they're like, more please, more please. But you have a lot of other people to get to. So you can't really get too emotional in these standpoints because that person gulped down the water too fast. They didn't really appreciate the knowledge and the information that you gave to them, that essence that you gave to them. They don't really appreciate it. Which is why in my Instagram live last night I even said that a very good thing to practice would be to do conscious eating or conscious drinking, where you pour yourself a glass of water and you sit there with it and you meditate with it and you sip it slowly and you feel the energy from every single drop as it trickles down your throat and into your stomach. And you feel that energy and you appreciate it. You appreciate the water. That's a really big thing because I feel like a lot of people, they don't really appreciate the quality of water. We live on a planet that's like, 80% water or something like that? And it's like, we in many ways take it for granted. So a lot of times what can happen with this Aquarian vibe is that Aquarius, of course, wants to help the collective, wants to fix things up, And what can happen is that sometimes we may spend too much time with people or situations that take our help and take the water that we're providing for granted. One thing about Aquarius too that I realized last night is that Aquarius, like I said, they're not without emotion or without empathy, but they also understand the reason why Aquarius is able to detach is that they also understand that everyone has their purpose, everyone has their legacy, and everyone has their own unique journey. So there are some times where Aquarius feels like it needs to separate from certain individuals because they have to allow space for the other person to come into their own awareness, into their own epiphanies. You gotta think about this. The journey and the adventure and all that sort of stuff is ruled by Sagittarius energy. We have Jupiter now going forward here. But what is the 11th house, naturally ruled by Aquarius, to Aquarius? It is Sagittarius. So in many ways, Aquarius has this deep knowledge of the bigger picture, of, this adventure and this legacy, of this higher sense of education, of these deeper philosophies. And they understand that everyone has their own unique perspective, everyone has their own unique philosophy and their own unique adventure. So Aquarius doesn't mind at all to hold space for individuals. And those individuals may or may not get, too attached to the Aquarian vibe and may not necessarily understand how Aquarius can just detach. But Aquarius has this higher vision and knowing that every single individual is unique in their own adventure, in their own journey. Full moons are a time of release. They also are a time of creation, but they are a time of release. They are a time of releasing what no longer serves us, what has been purged, what has been transmuted. It's reflecting to us. It's a reflector of the sun, right? So it's reflecting and illuminating all of these different aspects, and it's giving us the opportunity to release any self-limiting beliefs that we have about ourselves when it comes to this Aquarian vibe. So when it comes to relating to other people, when it comes to putting ourselves out there into the world, when it comes to our service to humanity. Aquarius is very much so the humanitarian. It's the service-like energy. I call Aquarius the cyborgs. And what's interesting about that is like you would think that a cyborg, is kind of somewhat removed from humanity, and they kind of are if you think about it. But they are still there to serve. It's technology. Technology is here to serve us. And we have this whole, narrative within our society that, AI and cyborgs are going to take over and all that sort of stuff. But it seems like every single one of those cases is not, the core of it is not malicious intent, but it is to make better and to serve humanity. Sometimes that is exterminating humanity, because there are pockets of humanity that are in disarray, are not in alignment with their true self. Thus, we have a lot of the problems that, we have. And these cyborgs, and these AIs, and these films and TV shows, they seek to eliminate the problem. That's what they're designed to do. That's what they're programmed to do, is to eliminate the problem. What's also making this full moon in Aquarius super potent, guys, is the fact that not only is it the sun opposing the moon, but it's also Venus opposing the moon, because the sun and Venus are conjunct. They're conjuncted at 21 degrees of Leo, but they've been dancing with each other for the past week or so. And they're going to continue to dance with each other up until Virgo. But Venus is conjunct the sun during this too. So not only are we releasing, you think about it, the moon is opposing the sun. So not only are we releasing these old paradigms when it comes to the sun in Leo, our passions, our joy. The sun loves to be in Leo. That's its home. Romance. But also, this whole Venus quality is bringing in here too, which has to do with our self-worth, our value, relationships too. There's a lot of relationships that are being released right now. Whether people are actually deciding to split from these individuals because they want to hold space for them so they can go on their own journey and experience things, or relationship paradigms are shifting forever. They are. So it's a very powerful full moon, a very powerful time. Not only that, guys, there's so many layers to this thing, because we do have we have Venus and the sun also making that quincunx over to Pluto. Pluto, which is retrograde in Capricorn, destroying things, right? Just absolutely demolishing things. And that quincunx is what I call the awkward stare from across the room. It's like you don't know if you should approach it. Yeah, you got a weird little feeling about it. So we all kind of have this weird feeling about, these creative projects, these romances, these relationships, be them romantic or not. We all have like a weird vibe about it. But what's beautiful about, like, first of all, Pluto's retrograde. So it's like there's nothing else that's really being per se destroyed right now, per se. But it's more of a reflective thing. And then, of course, we have Jupiter, which is now going forward, and Uranus, which is going retrograde. They happen on the same day, on August 11th, where Jupiter went forward in Sagittarius, Uranus went retrograde in Taurus. So we really are sprouting forth into a new adventure. And then with that Uranus energy in Taurus, which rules Aquarius, mind you, and the moon did, of course, square over to Uranus before becoming full, we also have to remember that, excuse me, this Uranian quality where we're wanting to fix things and like solve things, right? We're wanting to kind of make things streamlined, want to make things efficient. When it comes to this Taurus energy, now it's turned inward. So now we're not necessarily concerned about what the collective sees our value as, but what we truly see our value as. And we're going to be sprouting forth into a new adventure. Another layer to this full moon, I'm telling you, there's a lot of layers to this. Another layer to this full moon, guys, is the fact that we have Mercury, which came out of shadow. Mercury, which retrograded at 4 degrees of Leo. Retrograded at 4 degrees of Leo last month. And went all the way back into Cancer during those eclipses. Now it has come forward. And now it is officially out of shadow. It is officially at 5 degrees of Leo. Which means that not only with this full moon are we releasing, but we are finally having new thoughts when it comes to this Leo energy. A lot of people are going to meet new people, because Mercury and Gemini, it rules the community, but it does rule our thoughts. So we are finally stepping into new thought paradigms when it comes to this Leo energy, when it comes to our joy, our passion, our creative projects, romance, that royal-like quality that we all have, the royalty, that regalness, the lion's roar. We just came through the lion's gate. We're finally thinking new thoughts. We're finally realizing that it's time for us to really step into our power and to really embrace that courage and bravery and confidence to not only transmute these shadows and stuff, but to even almost sort of turn them into our friends. It's like walking into a dark room. It's like that meme where it's like, I think it shows that individual who's like working late night at a cemetery, and you're like walking into a room with like your shadows and ghosts, whatever like that, and you're like, yo, it's your boy, it's your girl, I'm here, let's go, let's party. And sometimes you gotta be like that. First of all, it throws the shadows off. Like, it really throws them off when you do that. But a lot of times, and I'm going to relay this back to Pokemon because I can, a lot of times the ghost Pokemon, they really just want to have fun. And I think, if we can kind of alter the way that we look at it and kind of realize that they just want to have fun and they're just playing jokes and they're not necessarily meaning malicious intent, then we can really allow ourselves to move forward and have more fun in this space. Now, I know that may sound kind of like a weird way of bringing those two things together. I know that may seem a little contradictory to think that some of these dark forces are just kind of playing jokes with us. A lot of times, though, we do it to ourselves. We play victim, or we haunt ourselves. And we will trap ourselves based off of these self-limiting beliefs that we have about what we can really manifest in this life and what is truly possible. And we corner ourselves when really we're trying to help ourselves. We're really trying to get ourselves to see something new and to not take things so seriously either. That's the other thing about this. It's like, to not take things so seriously. This is not really the time for that. We haven't really moved into Virgo season, which is a little bit more of a serious sign. We have a lot of these outer planets that are retrograde. Pluto, Saturn. I wouldn't say Pluto's really serious. I would say it's more Saturn, maybe even a little bit of Uranus. Pluto's just Pluto. Let's be real, Pluto's just Pluto. But this isn't really a time to where we have to like be super serious about everything. Like super serious about everything. It's not that time. It's not that time. This is a time to enjoy, to be, and every time's a time to enjoy. But I'm just saying, based off of where the planets are and stuff like that, based off of these aspects, this is a time to really just remember what it was like to be a kid when you're just playing and you had no worries. Yesterday I went to go see my niece, and it's amazing how she was able to just completely zap away my anxiety and my worries that were just kind of lingering. But just playing with her and seeing how she was just in the moment and she would just move to moment so fluidly, it was incredible to see. It was incredible to watch. And I was really, really inspired by it too. I was inspired by my niece to see how she can just move from moment to moment in such fluid joy. And how she would just allow herself to feel what she wanted to feel, and she didn't hold it back. She didn't hold it back. It was kind of actually sad though when we left, because she really didn't want us to leave. And she cried because we left. Because we were having so much fun. And sometimes it's like that. Sometimes like when we're having a lot of fun and something leaves us, we cry about it because we don't want it to end. And I think there are things that probably gave us a sense of joy and fun that are leaving us, that we're all crying in some way, whether like from a physical standpoint or like we actually physically cry or just like spiritually. But these tears are going to give way to new things to sprout forth. I'm getting the image of this large angelic-like entity who is crying, but those tears have transformed into a sort of river and stream that's curving throughout this massive field. And then I see the water kind of just soaking into the ground and new seedlings popping through. And it's actually like the tears of this angel is actually giving sustenance to this land so that new things can sprout forth. And that's kind of the way I'm seeing this full moon, is that we are giving birth to something new. And there is a bit of sacrifice here. There is some release here. But that does not mean that it's over. If anything, it means that it's just begun. You know, a lot of great newness is coming forth. A very, very powerful full moon. A super powerful full moon. So what I'm going to do, though, is I'm probably just going to draw a card or two for the whole collective for this full moon. And, you know, since this is that Aquarian energy, of course you want to look to see where Aquarius is in your chart. But this will be a very good full moon for definitely affirmation work, because, you know, it is air. It's that fixed air, though, too. So what's great about the fixed air is that, like, I have this one affirmation that I have, and I said, I wrote it down and I followed through. That will be a very powerful thing to do, because it does actually, in many ways, it takes what you wrote down, that, you know, that kind of air-like quality, communication, and you followed through. So it actually manifests and it makes it sort of fixated. It's not just floating around in space, you know, with the potential to become real. It actually does become real. So this will be a very, very powerful time, I feel, to, even with something simple, you can start off small and then you can work your way up. But to actually write something down and follow through. It can be as simple as, I'm going to have a drink of water right now. You actually write it down and then you drink that water. And you do so with awareness and you do so consciously. And then you start to build up momentum like that. And you can go as small or as big as you want with this. I know I'm about to do this. I'm probably going to start small and work my way up, because of course there's some things that do take more time. We got to remember that Aquarius, while it is ruled by Uranus, it's still co-ruled by Saturn, so things do take time to develop and manifest. Things do take time to take in the moisture. It's like you can't just water a plant or water a seedling and expect it to grow overnight. Sometimes they do, but you can't really just expect it to grow overnight and bloom. Sometimes you have to wait and you have to have that patience, right? So we got to think about it too. With that Aquarian energy being a fixed house, what's the fourth house to Aquarius? Taurus. So it's like if you really want things to manifest, you have to, you have to give that care, that compassion. You have to hold space for it. You have to kind of, in many ways, allow it to come into its own, but you have to hold space for it and kind of give it that motherly kind of warmth that Cancer provides. And you have to come at it from, not necessarily trying to place any type of expectations on this manifestation, and, not necessarily try and force your way into getting a certain result. So take your time with this. It's going to be a very powerful full moon, because the moon's going to be moving into Pisces soon, and it's going to, of course, come over Neptune, which is going to be joining this yod that we've had between Neptune, these energies in Leo, and then, of course, the South Node. The yod, which, of course, is like the finger of God. There's how these things are pointing to this Leo energy, and how it's been pointing to this Leo energy for such a long time now, because we've had this yod for quite a while. We've had it for quite a while. Things are pointing to this space. So, Oh boy, and have fun with it. Embrace your unique self. Release any type of expectations. If people are like, you're weird, you'd be like, I don't know anyone who's not weird. Like, are people still really using that as like a diss or to throw shade? You're weird. Why aren't you normal? What is normal? What is normal? Normal doesn't even exist in the Aquarian dictionary. What is normal? It doesn't exist. Let's see what kind of cards we have going on here. I'm going to draw a few cards, actually. Of course we get that. So, guys, we got the throat chakra. The throat chakra. The frequency of the throat chakra. The blue flower life supports our self-expression and our sense of peace and balance. This is incredible. This is really about speaking this peace and harmony out into the world. It's really about speaking our self-expression out into the world. That's exactly what this is. Leo is a very expressive energy. And then, of course, like I said, Aquarius, that fixed air, which is about this communication, about expressing and speaking out this self-expression, being ourselves unapologetically. We also have, we have the card of allowance. I don't pull this card that often. We have the card of allowance. The frequency of allowance invites us to be open to whatever comes our way, without judgment, without opinion, without fear, and without resistance. When we allow, the universe becomes our partner in the wondrous dance of existence and expansion. This is about not trying to force our way into certain manifestations, but actually being the co-creator to allow this to unfold naturally. Sometimes we may, Aquarius it's a fixed energy, so it's a stubborn energy. Sometimes we can try and overexert ourselves with the situations that we're trying to fix instead of just allowing things to simply be. If a situation isn't really fixable, then don't worry about it. If it is fixable, don't worry about it. Like both ways are pertinent here. Don't worry about it. Allow. Less is more. Less is more. And we also have Gaia. The frequency of Gaia reminds us that we are infinitely connected to one another, just as to our great mother and the universe that birthed us all. It's kind of cool because this is talking about how we are one with Gaia and we're one with the universe that birthed us all. And this throat chakra and allowance, I'm really almost getting the sense of how, we were in many ways spoken into this existence, and God had to sit back and allow us to simply be. And yes, I mean, you can look at these ancient texts, the Bible, the Quran, all these sort of things about, God's intervening and stuff like that. But you have to understand that in perspective in relation to the overall source perspective, which is impartial, these beings aren't the overall supreme God. They have power and they have influence, but they're not the overall supreme God. So whenever you see these aspects of these gods like intervening heavily with humanity, they actually aren't allowing us to evolve on our own, And this kind of does go both ways, whether it's for, benevolence or malevolence. We have to understand that, when we were spoken into this existence, there was this sense of allowing us to be, to simply be. And yes, there are times where intervention needs to happen, because let's not get it twisted. We are fucking crazy as humans. We are a crazy species, okay? So intervention is necessary. That being said, there's still this, wouldn't we have been destroyed by now, honestly? Considering what we've done and all this sort of stuff like that? I feel like we would have been. But there seems to be this compassion that Source Perspective has for us to allow us to simply be, and how we were spoken into this existence. Whether we're spoken into this existence by Source Perspective, I'm not entirely sure about, to be honest. But this is about, not being super fixated on the manifestation of the self-expression, but allowing it to evolve organically and naturally, and realizing that we are all connected and that we all cover each other's weak points too. I think that's the other thing that we have to realize with this full moon in Aquarius, is that there's this whole idea of wanting to try and fix the world. Aquarius is definitely kind of like a hero energy, wanting to try and fix the world and fix things and save the girl and save the boy. But it's like, we all have light and dark. We all have, quote unquote positives and negatives. We all have strong points and weak points. And we have to realize and trust that we're going to be able to cover each other's weak points too. And that our guides are here to help us, and our ancestors are here to help us, and Gaia is here to help us. And these beings are here to help us cover our weak points, so we can all work together, because we are all one cohesive unit. We are all one cohesive unit. Anyways, that is it for this full moon video in Aquarius. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and make sure you hit the bell to receive all the notifications. So we have a lot of fun here on the channel, and I would love for you to be a part of the fun. And my beautiful brothers and sisters, if you would like to have a personal reading with me, you can follow the link in the description below to astrofenixx.com. And as always, always remember, my beautiful brothers and sisters, to keep moving forward, to stay focused, and Yahoo! Smile often. Ah!